integrating vectors tomorrow, and on Wednesday you can be carrying on with those or working on the mixed exercise. And then we have the 2 weeks worth of revision lessons. Okay, so we have 7 revision lessons, and then we're going to be taking our test on that Thursday, so the last lesson of the 2nd week back. Now, this is the important bit. Okay, I've written the test. Okay, it's 40 marks, which is 4 questions. And I'm allowed to tell you what topics are coming up. So I've provisionally done a list of topics, and it's pretty specific. If I'm allowed to give it to you in this format, it will tell you exactly which subtopic to revise. So it won't just say chapter 8, it will say chapter 8.2, say, and it would then direct you to, and then obviously there'd be the accompanying questions that we could practice during those revision lessons. So I'm hoping that I'm allowed just to give you a list with 4 or 5 topics on it. Okay, so that's the plan. I've sent it through to Mrs. Miskin just to okay it. I think it's completely in the spirit of what Mr. Smith has said we should do, but I didn't want to get in trouble for making the topics too specific. Okay. So my view is that you will then, obviously, our revision lessons will focus entirely on the questions that we know are coming up. On that Thursday, when you take that assessment test, that's going to be 40 marks worth of a locked paper. Okay, and I'm kind of hoping that that alone, if you've done well enough, if you do well enough, we've got that banked. And that really, in theory, my thought would be, maybe with just embellishing it a teeny weeny bit, but if you've done well, if you've got your A in that, is that enough? Can we just leave it? Can that be the end of your mechanics? That would be what I will be arguing. And then you can spend all your time on pure and stats and not worry about returning to the mechanics. Obviously, if you don't do well in that, then that's fine. You will just, then you and you alone, or you and others in the same boat, can have another test at a later date and really just carry on going until you prove yourself. Okay, that would be, I mean, I don't know if this is the direction of travel as Mr. Smith sees it, but I think if you can go and prove yourself to be an A-grade candidate now in pretty much a whole paper, because remember the mechanics is only 50 marks anyway, so this is 40 out of 50. You know, maybe we even go and do the other 10 marks at some point under test conditions, so it's a proper paper. So provided you do well, I think it'd be great if we could say, right, that's the back of mechanics for you. Okay, and I feel with all these revision lessons we're going to have, particularly if I'm allowed to really target it and say, right, we're going to revise, you know, 8.2 today and that's coming up, then, you know, you're all in pretty good nick. So I will get back to you and I will let you have that revision list as soon as it's been approved by Mrs. Miskin. Now, what I will, so we're going to carry on today. So let me just unshare that. And what I'm not giving anything away now by saying what we're about to do today and tomorrow is in the test. Okay. And now I think it's pretty straightforward. Okay, and also it will obviously be something we've done incredibly recently. Okay, so if you don't get it done, fully done today, tomorrow and Wednesday, we'll be revisiting it again over those 7 revision lessons. Okay, so I think it's nice that this is coming up because A, I think it's easy. Hello Nathan, sorry I didn't see when you joined us. A, I think it's easy, and B, it'd be great that when you do this test on Thursday fortnight, it's something you've done very recently. Okay, so right, so I didn't notice when you joined, Nathan. If you oh James, you've literally just joined. Hello James. Can I suggest, James, definitely, and Nathan, if you didn't hear all that spiel, that last 5 minutes, James, has been quite a bit of important admin. So can you make sure that you play this recording back after the lesson, because it's going through what we're doing over the next few lessons and, more importantly, my views on the test that's coming up. So on to differentiating vectors. Okay, now with this, I very much personally like to do it in column vector format rather than I and J format, but that's completely up to you. So remember, R is the displacement. We're just using the R to reflect the fact it's the displacement from A to B, say, and not necessarily from the origin. So we tend to use R as our S, as our displacement. And as you know, the rate of change of displacement is velocity. So dr dt is velocity, and the rate of change of velocity is acceleration. So dv dt is acceleration. Now, there's only the one example before we launch into the questions. Okay, this example 7. So we've been given a particle P of mass 0.8 kilograms. Relative to a fixed origin O, the position vector of P is this. So, and you can see I've gone and written over on the right hand side what R is as a vector, column vector. And for part A, they're asking us to work out the speed when t is 4. So over on the right hand side, you just simply differentiate the I component, the top bit. Obviously the differential of 2t cubed is 6t squared. And you differentiate the bottom component, the j component, to get that minus 25t minus 3 over 2. You then sub in when t is 4, okay, and that will give you a vector, and you can see over on the left that's 96i minus 25 over j. And just be careful, they're not asking you to give your answer as a vector, as a velocity. They want the speed, the magnitude, so you've just got to go and Pythagoras that. Okay, and then for part B, we're asking for the acceleration. So we've had to differentiate again, and that's what I've done over on the right hand side in purple at the bottom. I've differentiated the velocity, and then we've just subbing in t equaling 2 to get an acceleration. And then for part C, F equals ma, we're just subbing in when t is 2, we're just subbing in the mass, multiplying that by our acceleration vector. So this is pretty straightforward stuff, I think. Okay, so today's lesson, I want you working through exercise 8D. So we've only officially got today's lesson and Wednesday's sort of catch-up lesson, if you like. But as I said, this is coming up in the test. So this will be part of our 7-period revision schedule. So there aren't that many questions. What are there? There are, let me see. Yeah, 9 questions. They're all pretty quick. If you can just get through 3 or 4, 4 or 5 today, then you can just pick up the other ones when we're revising it. Okay. So that's the plan. Is there anybody who'd like to ask any questions on the record? So it's actually getting recorded. Anybody got any admin questions they'd like, that they think will be of benefit to everybody else? And then so it can be on the recording. Just either wave or just give me a shout, just unmute if you've got anything you want to, if you're not clear on what I was saying, giving you a there. No? Okay. Right, then I will stop the recording.